Hello, welcome to News Express. This hour will bring you a story that cuts to the very core of national security, governance, and the rule of law in Nigeria. An alleged coup plot, a widening net of arrests, and a high-stakes court battle are converging into what could become one of the most consequential legal and political episodes in the country's recent history. At the center of it all is a case that goes beyond individuals and into the heart of how power is protected, challenged, and judged within a democratic system. 6 individuals, including retired military officers and a serving police inspector, are set to be arraigned before the Federal High Court in Abuja in connection with an alleged plot to overthrow the administration of President Bola Tinubu. Among those named in the charge sheet is former Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Sylva, who is currently at large. The charges are severe and layered, ranging from conspiracy and treason to terrorism, finances, and money laundering, painting a picture of what prosecutors describe as a coordinated attempt to destabilize the Nigerian state from within. According to the Office of the Attorney General, the alleged conspiracy dates back to 2025, when the defendants are said to have been planning actions aimed at undermining the constitutional order. The prosecution claims that the accused not only engaged in discussions to level war against the state but also failed to report knowledge of a planned coup, an omission that carried its own legal consequences under Nigerian law. The case is therefore not limited to acts committed, but also to acts deliberately left undone, reinforcing the legal principle that silence in the face of treason can itself constitute a crime. Beyond the alleged meetings and plans, investigators have focused heavily on financial transactions believed to be linked to the plot. The prosecution has outlined a trail of funds involving millions of naira, including large sums retained in personal and corporate accounts, as well as cash payments that allegedly bypass formal financial institutions. These transactions are being framed as proceeds or instruments of terrorism finances, significantly raising the stakes of the case. If substantiated, the financial dimension could transform the narrative from a political conspiracy into a structured and resource operation with far-reaching implications. This unfolding courtroom drama is part of a broader and more complex investigation into what authorities have described as an attempted coup. The timeline stretches back several months, beginning with the unusual cancellation of Nigeria's Independence Day parade in October 2025, a move that initially raised eyebrows but was later linked in report to emerging security concerns. In the weeks that followed, multiple arrests were made within military ranks, and by early 2026, the defense headquarters confirmed that an internal probe had uncovered a plan to overthrow the government. Parallel to the civilian trial, the military is preparing court-martial proceedings for 7 officers allegedly implicated in the same plot. These include individuals across various ranks, from brigadiers to junior officers, many of whom have been in detention for months. Notably, it has only recently emerged that these detainees have been granted access to legal representation after a prolonged period of isolation, a development that has sparked debate about due process and the rights of accused persons, even in matters of national security. Outside the formal structures of justice, a deeply human story continues to unfold. Families of the detained officers are demanding clarity, transparency, and fairness. Wives and children have staged protests, drawing attention to what they describe as prolonged detention without adequate communication or access. Some have expressed disbelief as the allegations, while others stress the need for a fair and timely trial. Children of some of the detained officers have also taken their protests to public spaces, including the National Assembly, carrying placards that highlight the personal toll of the ongoing investigations. Legal experts have been quick to emphasize the gravity of the charges. Under the Nigerian law, treason remains one of the most serious offenses, carrying the possibility of the death penalty if proven. Senior advocates note that while courts may exercise discretion, the statutory framework still provides for the harshest penalties. At the same time, they stress that outcomes will depend on the degree of involvement and the specific charges proven against each defendant. The judiciary process itself is expected to be rigorous and potentially lengthy. As a civilian trial, it will follow established legal procedures, including the presentation and cross-examination of evidence. Importantly, any convictions will be subject to appeal, potentially all the way to the Supreme Court, ensuring that this case would remain in the legal system for years. This case raises broader questions about civil-military relations, transparency in security operations, and the balance between safeguarding national stability and upholding the rule of law. It is not merely a trial of individuals, but a test of the strength and integrity of Nigeria's democratic and judicial systems. The courts will ultimately determine what is fact and what remains allegation. But the significance of this case extends far beyond the courtroom. That's it on News Express. If you found this report insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join the conversation. Drop your thoughts in the comments section. I am Cassie. Do well to stay informed. Have a lovely day. Bye for now.